Okay, here we are.
Here we are.
Good to see you again after all your efforts this season. So how are you making out in general now with the competitive season behind you?
Yeah, no, it was a great end, right?
Yeah.
The that show was just of such a high caliber that, that's always what I've wanted to do, is
Mm,
to be compared against the best guys my own age.
yeah.
And, I really felt like I had that opportunity. And, I'm actually really glad that I did the 40 plus too. Originally, I was only going to do the 45 plus. And, while I was certainly satisfied with my placing there,
Hmm.
and felt that, I did look really good for my own age and
Hmm.
against the best guys my age. Um, Participating in that 40 plus class was just crazy, and making first call out was, that was just an unexpected
Yeah.
surprise. And that first call out was absolutely insane.
Mm.
And I remember as I was walking off the stage following the other guys that were out there, and I was just going, holy shit, these guys are my peers. Like, I cannot believe that I was up with
Yeah.
these guys, because like there was a couple of them there that looked like they were 25.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple that definitely look fresh. But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how old they were, but if you get someone 40 plus, I mean, if they're like 41, 42, I mean, they're still pretty fresh.
Well, yeah, they could have been a
Right?
fresh 40, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but still just and then Asian genetics, right? So everyone looks really young. So it was yeah, but and then me as a 49-year-old white guy,
Mm,
49 today.
carrying the torch. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, but as a 49-year-old white guy, being able to be in that first call out with those guys, was
Yeah,
just like, it was just amazing.
yeah.
So obviously motivation levels are super high.
Mm.
I got some good feedback from the judges, very surprising feedback, in fact.
What
Where,
surprised you particularly? I know what you've told me already, but I'm just curious.
yeah, so the feedback was, that I need to bring my hamstrings up, which is fine because I've been
Mhm.
working on that for a long time now.
Yep.
And I wasn't surprised to hear that. And the other feedback that I got was I need to bring, like, I need more detail in my back, which
Mm.
is amazing because my back has always been my strong point, and my
Yeah.
back double, has always been one of my stronger poses. And to hear that, I was really happy because
Mm.
it wasn't everything else. In the past, it's always been chest needs to come up,
Yeah.
shoulders need more size, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But what used to be my strength is now my weakness. And that's
Mm.
like, that was amazing. Now, of course,
Mm.
there's a couple of reasons for that, right? Like, I had surgery on both
Sure.
arms. So, I probably haven't been able to train the back as hard as I used to.
Yep.
Or, maybe it just, yeah, maybe it was, I don't know, maybe I've been a little cautious or something like that. But I have also really focused on the other stuff. So,
Mm.
I think it was a combination of the two things. And, to have that result was, or to have that as the criticism, or the criticism that came back,
Mm.
I was elated,
Mhm.
really, you know.
Did they
Um,
elaborate on detail anymore? Because detail could be interpreted as you needed it to be
yeah,
harder or whatever, but I don't think that was a problem for you.
no, the conditioning, no. So like they were, everybody was very clear that the conditioning, the posing,
Mhm.
the front poses, like the from the front side, everything was, well, they said perfect, but
Mhm.
so they were happy with that.
Mhm.
But it was just, yeah, more obviously, if I'm out there with Asian guys that all have amazing legs, that,
Mhm.
even though my legs are pretty darn good for,
Mhm. 49 white guy.
what they are, the hamstrings got to come up. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll keep working on that.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, with the back, they were just saying that maybe a little bit more thickness, a little bit more detail. I
Mm.
think specifically what they're referring to is when I look at my back double, I can see that it's more in the upper back.
Mm.
The guys that placed in front of me had more in through the traps and a little bit more in the upper back stuff. And
Mhm.
that would make sense because I've actually been focusing very much on the lats. So
Okay.
I've been trying to focus on that and getting the, like where your lat insertions are down at the bottom there, just above your erectors. Like I've been trying to sort of build that area up and really focusing all of my movements on really, having the hand positioning right, et cetera, to hit that area. And I think I've been able to accomplish that. However, that has kind of come at the detriment. Like I haven't been doing much in terms of like chest supported row, right? Or stuff with more of like a pronated grip as opposed to a neutral one. So so I've got to do a bit more of that, and that's fine.
But it's always, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but it's always nice to have something to target on that you can be going after. It makes the gym a little more fun somehow for me.
No, absolutely, and that's the thing. Like, so one of the first things I started doing was trying to figure out how I'm going to change my split. What I'm going going to do.
What are you going to do different? I guess it's kind of exciting, I think.
It's a new project, right? So
exactly, a new project. I mean, I myself am thinking about competing next year, and I know I've got to bring up legs, obviously, after having a bilateral rupture a couple of years ago. So I'm putting a lot of energy in legs, but that gives me, I have a target. I know what I need to do. I have a mission, a purpose, and that feels good. So
it's great. It's really good. So that's good. And then in terms of the other stuff, like another thing I'm going to be doing this year, trying anyways, is given that my ability to accrue muscle mass over every given year is minuscule, I am not going to try to push my weight up. So I'm not going to be pushing calories. I'm going to try to just I'm not going to say maintain, but I'm going to target a level of caloric intake that allows me to stay. I think that I looked my best in terms of like kind of like healthy off-season type look at about 8 weeks out, which had me at about 195, 88 kilos, about 195 pounds. So I think that I'll be looking to keep my weight sort of in between 190 to 195.
Okay.
Maybe let it creep up a little bit, but more let it creep up as opposed to try to push it up. I understand. So, and just let my body grow, when it wants to, because that's clearly the only way that it's going to do. But in terms of, continuing to give it the right food, make sure everything is in line, the training is intense and stimulating, all that stuff. I'm definitely going to do that, but it's just, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to push my weight up like I have in the past, because there's just no point in putting on 45 pounds to have to cut off 38 to 43, right? So
very, very difficult
to get my 2 pounds of gain.
For sure.
So
I understand that.
So I'm just going to try to stay a lot leaner. I've also, I want to look more like, I like having clearly defined shoulders, right? And when I put on a lot of weight, I find that it gets blurred between my
the head and the rest of the arm,
and the rest of the arm starts to appear. So, I have big arms, but it's just, they get straight, and I want to kind of keep some of that shape this time.
Kind of illusion of 3D that you get by being a little tighter.
Exactly. And I mean, whatever the case, I mean, I'm always going to be weighing and measuring and preparing my food, and that's just
you enjoy that, right?
Eat, so it doesn't take any effort. So I'd just rather, instead of having, if it means that I have 150 gram portions of rice instead of 180, and that's an easy enough change to make, right? Like, it's not that difficult. So we'll figure it out and just stay a little bit leaner, and then maybe that'll make prep a little easier next time around. Not that this prep was tough.
I know you did fight
some dark moments there. But I expect that those dark moments will have to come anyway. Because that's always at the part where you're like much leaner and closer to stage weight anyways. But just going to try to not get as I guess it's more of a duration thing. It would keep the prep, it would make the prep shorter, so that would be nice.
How many weeks did you do this year?
quite a lot, you know.
It seems like a
I
long
was
time.
flipping back, looking through, and I had actually posted something where I said I was 22 weeks out.
Mm,
I think that when I was 22 weeks out, that was kind of when I started to like dial things in a little bit tighter. And then, you know, prep started in earnest at like 16 out. And then, it went through. I was ready a little early. So,
yeah, I think you were. Yeah.
but I mean, I hit the darkest part of my prep at like 3 or 4 weeks out of the first show.
Mm-hmm.
But the strategy this year of getting ready for the show 2 months beforehand and then maintaining condition and then doing a final push into the last show,
Mm-hmm.
that just turned out to be the right decision again. You know, like that was the same thing when I did that years ago. So that's clearly the way that I have to do it.
Yeah.
Look my best. So, you know, and now that I know that, it's just like that's just what I'm going to assume has to be done. There's no such thing as getting ready for one show for me. It's like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially, I mean, competitively, you want to be doing more than one anyway, because usually there's a bigger target somewhere in that chain, and there's a qualifier you have to do to get there anyway. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I could do one big show only, I probably would do that just because that suits my mentality. But you can't get into that big show without a qualifier. So, you know, and that, you know, it does give you not a dry run, but at least you know, a chance to feel yourself out that season with the first show.
I think in my case, what it does is it allows my physique to mature at the body fat level that I get to. So I think that when I first cut, there are some parts of my body that retain a little bit more fat than others. And by keeping my weight constant for a while, like my body fat level at a very low level, kind of redistributes a little bit. Everything kind of tightens up. And if I do another push where, you know, I take off another 4 or 5 pounds or whatever, then at that point, things really tighten up and everything gets a lot leaner. Like my glutes and stuff were a lot leaner in the second show. The first one. So
I mean, we wouldn't call it a diet break, obviously, because it's not a diet break. You're not raising calories, but
like
you're kind of holding a little bit, catching your breath. Maybe we can say, like, you know, it's kind of like, catch your breath and get ready for the next push instead of just keep running full tilt and being breathless.
I think that approach really works. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So that was good. And actually, for the second show, I wound up coming in a couple of kilos heavier than it was for the first one. So
that's good. Yeah,
that's consistent with what I saw in the past as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think, I mean, it was a bit far, especially the first show for me to see you on stage. But I did get some pretty good zoom in shots with my camera. And I think the second show, you look fresher. You know, you look a little healthier, just a little extra bit of fullness.
I
think makes a difference.
It was good. It was good. And much needed too in that lineup because everyone looked so good. So
there's a few guys there who were pretty full.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting what the Asian frame can carry. If you have a guy who's got a small bone structure, he can put some muscle on it. It looks really impressive, even though he might be like, you know, 170 pounds on stage, you know, or 165 pounds, you know. It's pretty amazing because there's the waist is so small, the joints are so small and everything.
And as usual, let's see the usual things. So like in the weigh-ins, seeing guys weigh in super close to the cap and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna be dead because I'm, you know, way lighter. And then of course you see show day and they're fat, you know. Happens every time. Or it's like somebody has a shirt on and they look massive and then they take their shirt off or they take their pants off and, you know, like they take their pants off and they have no legs, or you know, they take their shirt off and you know they're fat, like you know. But yet that never makes it any easier when you're doing the check-ins and you see the weights. You're always just like, oh, he's gonna kill me. But
it's tough to keep your head sorted those times.
Yeah,
it really is.
So that's I just laugh at myself now when I see that, because literally, like,
that's the best thing.
And I sit there and I go, and the thing that's like so weird too is it's just like I just do not see the way that I look when I'm, you know, like I look at the top 3 in the 45 plus, and we're all neck and neck, right? In terms of size and conditioning, all this kind of stuff. The winner had better quads than me, that's for sure. But I didn't give up much on anything else. And yet when I look at myself in the mirror or something, you know, I don't see somebody that looks like that dude did.
Yeah, it's going to be on stage.
In the back, looking at these guys and going, "Oh my God, I'm dead!" Right?
Yeah.
And yet I was up there, so it's like it's just bizarre. So I've now decided that I'm going to change my mentality. I'm going to throw the small guy mentality out the window. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's unless you are a narcissistic egomaniac, it is really hard to judge yourself fairly. I mean, I was talking with my wife in the audience during her show because I'm commenting on some of the guys there, especially when we got to bodybuilding, which I stayed to watch. You know, I think I had a fair amount more size than some of those guys.
Oh yeah.
But I was talking to my wife about it. It's like, you don't really feel like that unless you see unless I see a picture side by side.
Yeah.
And then there's the objective evidence. Otherwise, from my eyes to them, I feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not carrying enough size or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I can tell by the scale.
Yeah.
But the scale is kind of lies some ways anyways, especially these days. Everybody's 260 or something like that. I don't know how they have this weight because they look like nothing. You know? But picture side by side really tells you the story.
Yeah.
And everything in your mind will deceive you.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is I've always got to see myself on stage beside somebody because otherwise, you know, if I look at myself in the mirror, I'm still the 140-pound kid.
Yeah. Even though I look at the mirror and I see myself as having some muscle, it's not enough. And it's not dysmorphia.
I don't understand.
It's not dysmorphia. It's not like I see a skinny person and I have a complex. It's more like what I want is not there. An objective reality of accomplishment of you know, the look that I desire is not adequate. So and that's just something about my personal goal chasing, I guess, that should be that.
We all have that though, right? And that's what drives us to continually
I think so.
try to improve and things like that. So you know, I don't think that you're alone in that respect. That's for sure. Yeah.
It's something we all deal with, right? So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Not a bad thing. It's fuel, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, because I mean, without that, you'd be like, complacent and
And we see
at the end of the day, our lifestyle does take a lot of effort. So
yeah. I've seen some of the guys who are complacent, or who, for example, there's some people just chase size alone, and they get on stage and they look like they're 10 weeks out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're just focused on that one thing of just being the biggest guy in the room, just like dog poop.
No, you can usually tell because they usually have big written in their email address or
I've come across that more than once, unfortunately. Even people that I like to speak with and support, finding them their world comes crashing down, things aren't as they expect. No, it's like, okay, try to say some kind words and stuff and get out there, but it can be hard sometimes. Fortunately, I'm not one of those people, so it's easier to talk to
you. No, I mean, I was pretty I'm very pleased with the way things turned out. So looking forward to next season. I do hope they have that show here again next year, especially
I hope so too.
December. That would be great. And I would love it if you're competing too. So
it would be fun. Gotta get the legs up and the waist down. So legs is, I think, a matter of effort. Hopefully. And I'm just gradually getting stronger and stronger every session now, which I originally focused on until now. So we'll see what's going to happen. I have Dante on my corner to keep me healthy, stop me from doing stupid shit. That'll help, hopefully. And then I got to wait for my waist to come down. I've stopped the metformin and see if I can.
Waist stuff, like outside of the more sort of gastric stuff that you're dealing with, right? Outside of that, I really found that, okay, you ready for this? Training abs was really key. So the things that I found were most effective or that worked well for me were ab wheel rollouts, but just doing them from your knees, right? Like not
Yeah.
like your feet or whatever, and really concentrating on that being your it being your abs that drives the movement, because I think that there's a tendency to bring in like lats and stuff as we have
Sure.
arms up above the head, but
Yeah.
just making sure that you're doing that, and also like blowing out as you're executing the contraction, right?
Yeah.
So doing that, and then also vacuuming.
Yeah.
Vacuuming's far easier to do when you're prepping than in the off season because you have an empty stomach.
Yeah.
But vacuuming helped a lot, and I actually found that even though I have that, what is it, rectus diastase or whatever,
Diastasis recti, which I have pretty
that's
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got that, and a hernia.
Mm.
But because I have that and the hernia, I found I was able to suck my waist even deeper with the vacuum. So it actually wound up looking good. So
Yeah.
it was a very
That's
surprising.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So like all is not lost, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I found too is like vacuuming, like, so say for example, if you want to do like an ab mat type of exercise, I found that like ab mat, you can actually load resistance as you get better with it. But when you're starting out, especially with the split in the abdomen, that you don't want to like go all the way back to begin with.
No.
It's the same thing where if you vacuum and if you blow your air out, vacuum first and then initiate the contraction. I actually feel that it kind of like helps to pull in, you know, the abs from the side, right? So it helps to keep that sort of problem area in the middle under control. So I don't know.
That's the only way I could do abs. If I haven't done them in a while, what I used to do since I got diastasis recti, it's pretty bad. I mean, it goes from below my belly button up until my top abs. If I do any kind of crunches, it just pops out.
Yeah, it pops out.
Yeah. So what I would do is blow out all my air that I can and suck in as hard as I can, then perform the movement.
Yeah.
Keeping everything in tight, and that would keep it under control. But because of the gastric issues that are just having me bloated all the time,
I know that's
I can't do a vacuum. Just
no,
it's not possible. You know, it's like as a semi inflated basketball where my stomach should be. It's like a drum. So
no, I hear you on that, because I get post CPAP some nights. Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, I've heard some people do that. Yeah.
I get really bad. What's it called? That thing where basically you wind up swallowing air because of a mask slipping or whatever. Yeah. So I get that. But yeah, the if that does come down, then the other thing too is like on the ab mat type ab crunch exercises, I find that driving movement from your pelvis rather than the top makes a huge difference as well. Because if you initiate the contraction from like the pelvic side, I think that part of the reason why we get that split is like if we're trying to drive from here, I don't know, it just doesn't come in as nicely. Whereas if you're initiating from your pelvis, you've kind of got almost a bit of a vacuum in the in your stomach anyways. So but yeah, anyways, it was just really like I found that through training abs and stuff, I managed, like, my waist came in a lot. So I hope you can find the same sort of solution. It's going to take trial to find out what you can do and what you can't. But
I'm doing like I have to go look up like how women repair themselves after childbirth. You know what I mean? And do like the dead bug exercise with your back and stuff like that.
I'll give you a hint. A lot of it's very similar to what I just talked about, because that's what I'm looking at.
So you have to, you know, it's because the guys who get this probably more often than bodybuilders, like powerlifters, and they probably just don't even care.
No, they don't.
They don't look to rectify it. So
they were saying that they just shove the hernia back in and tape it up with like duct tape.
That's what one of my doctors told me. He's like, "Oh, if it pops up, just push it back in." But I wouldn't recommend surgery unless you really need it. So okay, good.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna get the surgery done.
Are you?
At some point, but it's just not right now. Like it's manageable at the moment, but I have to be very careful about the way that I move, like especially with any sort of like twisting motion, because that's actually where it was smaller before and then it got bigger because of the result of, well, I had put a car in a snowbank and we were trying to like push it out, and as we were pushing it out, I noticed that like when I turned, that was when it really
Oh really? Okay,
that's when
interesting. Yeah. Mine just happened, I think, just from too much intra-abdominal pressure over the years.
Right.
Just doing rack pulls with 7 plates and stupid shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
Even with a belt, it just pushes and pushes. So
Yeah.
it happens. I think as you get older, your connective tissue gets weaker too, so it just gives way. Yeah. Another one of those joys of being middle-aged.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we find a way, right? I mean, that's
true.
You know, so
that's the whole thing, right? Yep.
yeah. So definitely looking forward to next season. It would be awesome to be able to compete in the same show you do. We wouldn't be on the exact same stage because I'll be doing open and you'll be doing
Right. I'll be doing
classic physique. But yeah, so I hope there is this show. These shows are there next year. You know?
Yeah, it was so much fun. Like, you know, it was really like
it was well run too from an audience point of view. It was very smooth. I don't know what it was like backstage, but
it's super smooth. Yeah. As usual. Yeah. But like it was just so nice because, you know, like obviously a lot of the friends that I've made throughout the course of competing and whatnot, most everyone was there, and it was really like the same mentality where it's like, you know, finally a show for us. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Where it's not like a billion 20-year-old kids trying to do men's physique, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, even when I did the Olympia Amateur in 2019, which had masters but no pro card potential. I mean, there's some I'm sure, but I don't remember any Japanese in my class on stage. You know, everybody was from someplace else.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty similar this time. I was the top athlete from Japan. representing well. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, whatever. My entire competitive career has been out here, so you know.
Yeah.
And I certainly, I mean, like, I felt like, you know, the people running it, like all of the FWJ folks, I mean, they were certainly, you know, they were certainly supportive, and I think they were pretty happy with you know, the results and stuff. So yeah, so that felt good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even if I am a bald white guy, I did feel like yeah, I was kind of representing Japan there. So
yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, that's where we live now, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to do it with you. I do hope the weight classes stay the same too, because I like that 85 kilograms and up. You know, because I can fit in there without trying to slide under 89 again or whatever like that, which is painful for me. So
no, I mean, I think that they would probably keep that. Yeah,
that would be good.
Everything was it was very smooth. It was good. It was a good field though. Like, you know, whatever the division was, you know.
Yeah, it was enjoyable from the audience point of view. I mean, they had good competitors. You know, it was a good balance. Most of the classes had enough competitors in them. Of course, there's a few of them, like, you know, 50 plus or whatever, that had a little bit light, but I mean, that's to be expected, you know. Older you get, less competitors there are.
Few competitors, yeah.
But it was still, I mean, definitely, you know, from my point of view, it didn't feel like I was at a Masters show.
Yeah, no, and it wasn't. I think there was critical mass in terms of the number of competitors, and on top of that, the quality of the competitors were good enough that it was like a reasonable show. Like, it wasn't just a reasonable show. When I showed the pictures of like the 45 plus or the 40 plus first call out, like when you compare that to North Americans, this show is better.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, it was. And you look at the guys that, you know, won the cards here versus the card winners of the North Americans, and there is like, the guys that won the cards on the North Americans would probably be beaten out here. I showed like that 40 plus lineup. My cousin, who's a pro in open classic physique, right? Like, you know, just not even like not masters, was like, you know, I probably would have lost to a couple of the guys there. Like the physiques were seriously impressive, and you know, it was just amazing. So
that's nice, and really, I think, runs against the expectation, because I think when pro cards started getting distributed out in Asia, people had low expectations for what was going to come out of that, and I think that's been beaten a little. Maybe I would say across the board it's been beaten, but the Masters, you know, I think that, you know, like we kind of joked about it earlier on, perhaps Asians do have a little bit of advantage as they get older, not looking as beat up, not looking as weathered, maintaining balance better.
I think there's that, and then I think there's also the fact that, like, you know, they've had a history of distributing Masters Pro cards in the US for years now. Whereas in Asia, this was the first time that we had the opportunity to go for a pro card. So,
True.
you know, so I think that really brought a lot of top competitors this time.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. People expect it in the States. It's kind of been there for a long time.
Yeah.
But here was like a new opportunity people get excited about and go in there fresh and excited and full of
Wow,
appetite.
just guys that never had the opportunity, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, those Chinese guys that like, so both of the guys that placed in front of me in the 45 plus, they were both from mainland China.
Mm.
They wouldn't be able to compete in the US because they can get a visa.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is why Japan is exciting, because you know, the people that can't get visas to participate in shows in the US. So, for example, Iranians or you know, Chinese or you know, things like that. Those guys all have access to come here. So yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah. It's cool to be a part of it.
It is. It's intimidating. I'll tell you that.
Motivating.
Cow, man, when I was like thinking about all of the amazing Korean competitors and Chinese competitors that were going to be showing up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, wow, that was scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, got in the mix and did okay. So
yeah,
won't be
what you wanted all along, right? You wanted to be on stage with your peers that were not just a bunch of slobs, but some serious hardcore competitors. You
know, you don't want to be a Masters competitor and be up with a bunch of like crappy old guys that like don't care.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like, what's the point in that? Like, I am far happier with, like, I placed outside of the top 5 in the 40 plus, but I was either 6th or 7th, I don't know, but like, I'm way prouder of that placing than I would be if I won a shitty show.
Yeah, of course.
Like, because the guys that I lost to are amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm 49, and those guys were probably fresh 40. So, like, you know, and then, you know, in the 45 plus, like the 2 guys that beat me, didn't beat me by a huge margin, and they were exceptional. So,
you
know,
I can really good show.
Deduce a little bit from there as well. You know, so that's so that was very, very good.
Really good stuff. Yeah. Enjoyed seeing you there and look forward to doing it together with you next year, as I said.
Yeah, man. No, let's do it. Absolutely.
Okay. Shall we call it quits there?
Yeah. What else? About the only other thing is just trying to get my hunger cues back to an appropriate level. Those are all over the map right now. That's about the only other thing that I think is kind of interesting to share about this period right now is I'm a week post show. I had a week and change. I did like, so the day of the show we finished at like noon, so I ate freely, and then the following day I had like 2 or 3 bro meals, and then like, you know, a dinner out. And then I was back on plan for the work week. Then this weekend I had a couple of like, we were out of town, so I just tried to eat like a normal human, which was a disaster. But like, my hunger cues are just terrible. Like, I cannot trust myself at all. You know, I can't tell when I'm full, and I also, as soon as I've done eating, like, my body is just telling me eat more.
We'll have some more.
It's just,
just stay away from buffets, I guess, for a while.
Well, I mean, I think I just need to stay on a plan for a while, right? And
you just got to add a decent amount of body fat back slowly, so your body kind of rebalances. No, I mean, just a healthy amount, not get fat, but just enough that your body restabilizes.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, like, from stage, I'm already probably, what am I, 5 kilos heavier? So, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So, I just kind of I'm not so sure if it's the body fat thing or if it's just getting the hormones back into, like, the ghrelin and the leptin, getting those back into more reliable
Yeah.
levels, like
Yeah.
with more regular eating. But it kind of feels like, because I've given it some food, it's just like, now my body's just like, oh, I want it all, right? So I don't really want to do an epic bounce, as I was mentioning. I want to try to stay a little bit leaner this off season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wouldn't think you would. You're probably very close to the point where you're going to rebalance, I would think.
I hope so. Yeah.
Down. Yeah.
Give it another. I think probably, most people talk about doing a reverse is like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weeks type of thing. So, from that perspective, it's still early days. So, just kind of like ride the lightning until then. And then hopefully, because it's like, even just bumping, like, so the calories that I put myself on are like really conservative compared to what I normally eat in off season to maintain my weight. So, I thought that I wouldn't see the scale go up. So I was quite surprised to see that it's gone up as much as it has. I thought I was still going to be in a deficit. My body is definitely telling me, like, in terms of hunger cues, that I'm still in a deficit. But
I'm sure you are.
I think it's just because the hormones are out of whack, right? So
the hunger cue hormones, like you mentioned, which is going to be related to body fat. I've heard a few coaches these days talk about not throwing caution to the wind, but letting their clients get up to a more stable weight more quickly, as opposed to waiting like, a month and a half or whatever, because they found that there's not a lot of advantage in it. The problem is that some people aren't psychologically prepared to do that. If you give them the room to go up quicker, they just go overboard and they go out of control. Not everybody has the discipline to hold back.
So Justin's protocol to come out of the show was pretty interesting. It's like, the day of the show, you can have a free meal. The next day is free for all. Do whatever you want. And then it's 5 high days in a row. So it's like no fats, high carbohydrates, and your last meal can be a free meal. And generally speaking, by the time that's done, you're sick of it and you want to go back on diet food.
Probably. Yeah.
And then the calories are usually pretty aggressive in the rebound phase there, because he's of the mindset that you can have some of your best gains during that rebound period because your body is so receptive, et cetera, et cetera. And while I don't disagree with that, I just I just wanted to try a different approach this time and try to ease out of it a little bit faster, because as I've said, historically speaking, even if I do these massive rebounds and then push things really aggressively, net from year to year, I don't wind up that different.
No. And I think there's a lot of recent use cases and talk out there by people smarter than me and more experienced than me that the rebound idea is a fallacy. That actually does far more harm than good. In multiple ways, especially depending upon what kind of bodybuilder you are. And it's just not worth it. It's an illusion held on from like the 70s and 80s type approach.
Well, and it's great justification too, right? Like, you're like, especially after you've been
on a psych game.
And there's something about like, when you are looking like you're underfed and emaciated, and then you have a week and you explode, and then people around you are like, whoa, dude, you're huge, right? Like, so I think that there's like a bit of that as well.
There's a psychological frailty of bodybuilders, right? Unfortunately.
You're huge. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am huge. Yes, you should see my sock lines. I'm so huge. I can't tie my shoes. I'm so huge. Wait a minute. Does that mean I'm huge? I'm just bloated.
Yeah. So just being cautious with that. I'm trying a bit of a different approach because the past ones have worked. I think that it's worthy trying something else. There's been plenty of people that talk about trying to stay a little bit like past couple of years. I've noticed a lot of people have been talking a little bit more about trying to stay lean coming out of it, being a bit more cautious with the reverse process out of it, and then staying leaner in the off season. That's something I want to try this year. So
I regardless of your case, I'm not throwing that aside either. I think that's just a good idea because it's healthier too. Gaining 40-50 pounds off season is not healthy,
really.
And I mean, it's not just for us. Just like think about a regular person just carrying the extra body weight, no real purpose. I mean, it's not really constructive.
Well, that's the thing. And then when you put that add to that at damn near 50 years old.
I just
don't see what potential health benefits are of that. That's for sure.
I mean, I have my own internal debate. I'm 55 in a couple months, and it's should I really be 102, 103 kilograms? Is that, even though I'm lean, it's kind of
But I think a lot of your mass has just sort of been accumulated over time. I mean, you can try to downsize, but maybe that's why doing the show would be a good idea for you, right? You can do it. You can you can do that, do the show, see how you feel, and then if you decide after the show that's it, then you can say, okay, I'm done, right? And downsize. But do it like of your own terms.
Maybe 97.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah. I went all the way down to 90.
All the way down.
Nice.
Anyway, we're rambling a bit, I think.
Yeah.
But good insights though. Definitely, we'll have to catch up with each other as you make the adventure back up to a normalized off season.
And we'll see how it goes.
Comfortable progression.
Thanks a lot for all your support through the season. And
of course, it's been fun.
It's been great, and really appreciate it. And it was good. Look forward to continuing to carry on this journey.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be doing it with you this upcoming year too. So
sounds awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right. Okay. Take care.
All right. Thanks a lot, Matt. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.